And we are live. How's it going, everybody? I am the Uncanny Omar. You are watching Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I got together with a couple people from IDW. This is Ryan Balkam. How do you say your
Yeah.
last name? Balkam.
Ryan
Got it.
Balkam.
Awesome. And Gregg Katzman.
It's pronounced Katzman.
Is it really?
No, it's Katzman.
I was like, how did I mess that up? It's cats and men together. Okay, got it. So thank you guys for joining me today. I wanted to talk to some people in the that work in the industry and also talk about what they're currently reading and what they're enjoying, and just seeing what brings the energy out in people and what's hot or what at least they consider is hot. Now, Ryan, how long have you been at IDW? I've known Gregg for quite a number of years, but what about you? How long have you been?
2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years now. May of 23 is when I started. So I started right around the same time as Gregg.
What do you do there at IDW?
I'm the director of sales. So I started out as the direct market sales rep when I got hired, and as Gregg so graciously got in a press article, I just recently got promoted to director of sales.
Congratulations!
Thank you, man.
What does that entail? Just out of curiosity, what is the director of sales?
Man. a lot of meetings, a lot of brainstorming, which is cool because I love coming up with stuff that's gonna be out into the market and being able to give my opinion. It's I have just real quick, like I wanted to work in comics my whole life, so I've worked at a comic book store, I had a YouTube channel, and so being a part of this side of the industry and being able to give my feedback and being able to sell this stuff has been a dream. And so a lot of that, working with retailers, obviously comic shops, doing retailer variants with them, working with our wonderful distributor PRH, and the book market, and a lot of that stuff.
Okay. And Gregg, in case people are not familiar with what you do, what is it that you do at IDW, brother?
I'm the senior publicity manager. So basically I spend all day just doing my best to find ways to celebrate our books and the people who make them. I work with, press partners from all different parts of the industry, all different forms of media, to make sure they have access to our comics. They're aware of everything that's coming up. And, I chat with them about, what kind of opportunities they're interested in, what really excites them, and whether it's good or bad, frankly, like whether they want access to interviews, reviews, so they can provide, either like really thoughtful analysis and constructive criticism or glowing praise, however they feel about it. Once that PDF is in their hands, how they feel about it is their right. Also giving them access so they can do editorials, just getting to know people and giving them access to our comics, making sure they're aware of everything coming up, and doing my best to just make sure we get the word out. Because, as you know, it is a busy industry. Like, we're chatting on a Tuesday night, which means tomorrow's Wednesday, new comic book day. How many comics are releasing from Marvel? How many comics are releasing from DC? How many comics are releasing from Image? And then, of course, from, Ghost Machine, Skybound. How many comics are releasing from Dynamite, from Dark Horse, from Boom, just across the board. There is so much competition out there. There are so many stories that are competing for people's hard-earned money, because when you go to a comic shop every week, you can't, like, most people would not have the luxury of just being able to buy every single comic that they want to. They have to set up pull lists to decide what is worth their hard-earned money. And it is my job to do the best that I can to work with press to make sure if there's a book that excites them, they have access to it. They have the means to talk to people about it. And if there's, I won't ramble too much. It was a long day, so my apologies.
No, it's okay.
I'm a little low energy, but yeah, it's working with press, it's working with creators for the direct market. That means single issue releases. As you know, Omar, because you now work with her, we also recently hired an incredible book publicist, someone named Kim Estlund. She's incredible. Yeah. She, after our books, do what they can in the direct market, she then picks it up and does what she can to support them once they go into the book market, which, then means it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes & Noble, hopefully it's in Target, places like that. And of course, she works with you a lot now because you do, incredible spotlights.
thank you. She's great, and I just wanted to make sure people knew exactly what you all do over there, and
We love comics, and we just want to talk about comics.
Y'all got some fans in the house.
It's very nice.
Comics Lounge, yeah. Ryan, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know a lot about Gregg already, but tell me a little bit about yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
I will say Gregg is too modest. He is the best PR guy in comic books. I have to say that. The hustle that this man has is like, it makes me amped up, and then I don't try to outdo him, but I try to match that energy, you know, like with what I'm doing. So I just want to say that.
That's really, really nice.
You know what I love about Gregg too? I know this is not I Love Gregg show, but one thing that he does, I don't see a lot of people do, is that he will actually talk about comics outside of IDW, right? Like he'll praise comic books that are out there that are from other companies. He's just talking about books that he enjoys. You don't really see a lot of people do that these days, especially once they get a job in the industry. And I don't know, they might have to sign some kind of agreement, but it just seems like Gregg is really vocal about the stuff that he likes, and I really respect that. That's cool.
Thank you. And Ryan is also being very humble, like because Ryan, you know, I won't name drop like which shop you worked at or whatever, unless you want to say that, but like he loves comics every bit as much as I do, if not more. Like we are constantly talking about what's going on across the industry, the books we're really excited about, maybe the books where we were a little disappointed about, and that stuff we'll talk about privately. We're never going to go out and publicly be like, I didn't like this book and here's why, because that would be unprofessional, right? That's not cool. People tried their best to make that book. People tried their best to promote that book. That's just private conversations we're having that are personal, and everyone has those. But yeah, he loves comics, and it's really awesome to see someone like him get promoted to a director level at IDW, because just the whole time, you know, ever since we've bonded over just our mutual obsession over comics, it's just great seeing him have the opportunity to give such good feedback internally and talk about what excites him. I mean, like he worked closely with editorial on like the TMNT 13 blind bags, right?
Yeah, that was, you know, I saw what Skybound did with Battle Beast, and I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do, right? Like we have a new creative team coming into the ongoing. How do we make that special? Because it's an issue 13, right? Like, how do you get people to jump on board? And I was like, well, let's do a blind bag. Lucky 13 also worked out pretty well for us. And so, you know, getting to help pick the cover artists and stuff, and casting those with editorial, and you know, our editorial department's super awesome. They're very collaborative, which is cool. They're always open to suggestions. So I was like, hey, can we get this? Can we do this? And so, you know, obviously the sales were there. It was awesome to see like it launched so well. But yeah, it's funny. Gregg's like, we talk about comics all the time. We do. We talk about comics like all the time. Yeah. I literally called him an hour and a half before my shift to tell him about an article I saw about a new creative team. I was like, dude, like, what is this? You know? But yeah, just real quick, I don't want to like take up too much of my time or your time, but you know, I've been reading comic books since I was like 4 or 5, and I'm 30. I'll be 39 in February. So my entire life has been comic books. I've worked my first job was at 13 at a comic book store. Obviously it wasn't, you know, on paper. I got store credit, but that was fine because my money would have gone there anyway. And eventually I went and was working at Collector's Paradise in Winnetka, California. They have 3 shops. They have one in North Hollywood, one in Pasadena. And that owner, Ed, I've known since I was 13. So like he's like family to me. And you know, I worked at the front, and eventually I was managing the eBay store. And you know, while working there, was also a sous chef at a restaurant. And eventually I worked more full-time at the restaurant, not so much at the comic book store. And then I got laid off in 2023. Oh. And I was like, this is my opportunity. I have to, you know, I want to do something in comics. I was doing a YouTube channel called The Comic Lounge, which comics are dope. Thanks for the shout out. And that was just my outlet, you know, to talk about comic books. I never posted a video about something I didn't like. It was always something I liked, did interviews and stuff. And it was really just for me. I happened to share it with everybody, you know? And so when I got laid off, I asked my wife, I was like, give me like a couple months to try to find something in comics. I do not want to go back to a restaurant. It's a very stressful job. And so luckily, you know, I got hired at IDW, and the rest is kind of history. And people might say like, oh, comics are stressful. Well, I got news for you. Go work on a busy brunch day on the line in front of a hot girl. The most stressful day in comics doesn't compare to that. So this is like a cakewalk for me,
Yeah, there's a lot more stressful things you can do than working in comics. But I mean, but comics do have their ups and downs. Of course, everybody has bad days, and that's really cool that both of you bond over your love of comics, though, from such a young age. And let's start with IDW. What are you all enjoying from IDW? Obviously, I think the big sellers right now, Ninja Turtles and Beneath the Trees, right? Like Beneath the Trees just kind of blew up and it's back again. And my wife was trying to find, like, we couldn't even find issue 1 of the second series. We had to like drive an hour to go to another comic book store to try to find, because she's the single issue collector. I obviously am going to wait for the trade paperback or hardcover whenever that comes out. But what is it that you all are enjoying that IDW is putting out?
Ryan, do you want to go first or should I?
Oh, sure, I'll go first. Obviously, Ninja Turtles. I'm a diehard Turtles fan. I'm not going to speak for Greg. I'll let him talk, but I know it's the same for him. I mean, I have a tattoo of Raphael on my shoulder. That's how much I love Turtles. And Beneath the Trees, like from day one, the minute I saw the cover to issue 1, the A cover, I was like, that's special. And I can't wait to read it. And then from there, it became, Patrick Horvath became one of my favorite people in the world. Like, not just in comic books, but in general. He's such a good dude. It's so cool to see that book become what it's become from a relative, unknown creator, right? The other one I would say that I really like, I really love what we're doing with Dark. Event Horizon has been insane. Twilight Zone has been just so cool, watching different creators give their own vision. A gentleman of fine taste. And what else? There's so much cool stuff that we're doing. There's stuff that I'm so far in advance of stuff that hasn't even come out, but Shredder has been really cool. I love what Dan Waters done with that book. And then
this is a really important question though. Which version of Raph do you have a tattoo of?
Oh, a comic book version.
Okay.
I find it would be too hard to take my whole sweatshirt off the show, but it's the comic version, not the cartoon. The OG version is the proper version of Raphael.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. What else have you been doing?
No. So I was just gonna say, the stuff we're doing with IDW Dark has been really cool. Godzilla, I can't forget about that. Getting to be a part of not just a huge launch for Turtles, but then being able to be there when Toho let us do our own Godzilla. It hasn't been done in comic books. This is the first time that they have allowed a licensee to produce their own version, their own design of Godzilla. And what did we do? We decided that we were going to off him in issue 6, and then the new version was going to be reborn from that. So the whole Godzilla line, Monsterpiece Theater was one of my favorite things we've done too.
I think was awesome.
That was
yes.
That was when first of all, I loved Tom Scioli before I started here, and then they told me he was doing a Godzilla book, and I was like, oh hell yeah! And that book just blew me away. So,
and his Twilight Zone issue is on sale tomorrow. Sorry to be shameless, but
yeah, no, you're fine. I have it laying right behind me too somewhere. So, but yeah, so those are my favorite things that we're doing right now.
Yeah, the whole vibe of Godzilla and how you guys are relaunched it is just awesome. I love the different styles of the books that are coming out. So I can't wait to see how those are collected. Greg, what about you, my guy? What are you enjoying?
So one thing I'll add before I go into my personal picks is, I know Ryan mentioned this earlier in the chat. It's nice that across the company, all the editors working on the various lines and various books, they care deeply about all this stuff. It's not just a job for them. They really, really try their best to bring a bunch of creative energy to it. If it's a licensed property, they do their best to be respectful of the voice of the brand while also trying to make sure it feels like it's adding something to that, mythology and that fan base that exists. So it's really nice just to see that across the board, whether it's the whole TMNT line, whether it's IDW Dark, whether it's Star Trek, whether it's Godzilla, whether it's Sonic, Monster High, or even, Rocketeer, which we announced the other day. Yeah, there's just a lot of really cool stuff. I'll get into my personal favorites, but I mean, like, yeah, the Kaisei era is awesome. Hey,
What's up?
yeah, yeah, the Kaisei era is really, really cool stuff. The editor behind that, Jake Williams, has been working really well with Toho, just to create a whole new mythology of the Godzilla universe. It's been really cool. We have, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but we have more announcements about that universe coming up early next year. But for now, there is the flagship series. We've made some really cool reveals. Like there's Kaisei era energy Godzilla coming up. There's Starship Godzilla, which I believe it was Fangoria that said it's like they found like a lost 80s VHS anime, and that's the feel that they get from the series. And then there's Escape the Dead Zone, which is just really character driven and visually just stunning as well. Star Trek, I mean, we're doing The Last Starship right now, which is our flagship series from Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing.
I love those guys.
Yeah, it's oh man, issue 2 is on sale tomorrow, but I can't wait for people to get issue 3. That is a really, really big issue for the Star Trek universe. That's all I will say. I hope people check it out. It's really good stuff. And actually, the first issue sold out, and the second printing is on the way. Ryan mentioned Event Horizon. That's just been killer. That's been doing so well. But me personally, I mean, like, I don't remember if it was 2011 or 2012 when IDW did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 from the IDW universe. I was living in North Jersey. I went to my shop up there. I think it was called A&S Comics. And I just remember how excited I was that there was a Ninja Turtles #1. And when I read it, I was just like immediately in love because it felt like familiar, but also fresh. Like it was like going back into that world, but it was slightly different. Like there was old Hob, Raphael was separated from them. So to be here, like over a decade later and be able to help promote Ninja Turtles is still just like surreal to me, man. That's especially when there's so many incredible creatives involved, like working with Jason Aaron and all the artists that worked with him on issues 1 through 12, like Juan Ferreira and everyone else. It was incredible. They were all amazing to work with. They all just poured their hearts into it. And now what Gene Lin Yang and Freddie Williams second are working on for issue 13 and beyond. There's really exciting stuff. And early next year, going to reveal much, much more about the future of the flagship series and what they're building up to. But yeah, across the board, man, it's just IDW Dark particularly has a lot of cool stuff on the horizon that may or may not be a pun for Event Horizon. I don't know. It was unintentional, but yes, I see a comment. Yes, Event Horizon, the movie, Christian Ward, the writer, Tristan Jones, the artist, Pip Martin, the colorist, Alex Ray, the letterer. They're doing the official prequel comic. I saw Comic Pop in the comments. First of all, thank you for watching this. Love you guys. And they just have been such champions of this series. It's a really, really good comic.
You said it's based, I'm sorry, it's a prequel to the movie, because that movie is a very underrated gem. I love that movie. And I don't think it gets the praise that it should. Maybe it just came out at the wrong time, but it's a great movie. So
I think almost 30 years later, the fans who have fond memories of it or have been watching it still are just so thrilled to get something new from that universe. And the fact that it's an official prequel and not like, here's a lost story that doesn't really change anything, So that's been incredible to see. And then, like Ryan said, Twilight Zone, just across the board, IDW Dark, Godzilla, Star Trek, everything we're doing, man. I'm not saying that because I work here. Like, it's nice to see that kind of energy and creativity going into, just the whole line of comics. Nothing feels like filler or whatever.
Final movie or the uncut movie we never got. I would assume it's whatever is out there, right? Kind of like the Blade Runner comics based on the Blade Runner theatrical cut. Yeah,
it's not. I mean, we can't really build on something that was never released, but this is very much. It is very much staying true to the tone of the movie. It is very graphic. I would not recommend giving it to younger readers, but it's for mature readers for a reason. And if you check it out, you'll see why, especially issue 4, which is coming out next. Yeah. And by the way, like, if you are interested in that, please pre-order, because issues 1 and 2 sold out. Issue 1 is on like the 3rd printing. Issue 2 is on the 2nd printing. Ryan,
issue 3 sold out.
Okay,
Issue
sweet.
3
So we
sold.
can say that. That's awesome. So issue 3 now sold out. So that book is 3 for 3, which is wild. So definitely make sure if it's on your pull list. And then of course, yeah, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees is under the IDW Dark Umbrella. Everything Ryan said, I give that a thumbs up. Patrick Horvat's the best. That dude's awesome.
Can I just say how jealous I am of you people that read single issues? So my wife is a Wednesday warrior.
Where would you store them, man?
She will go. I don't have any room.
Yeah.
She keeps them upstairs. She actually has them in order. She goes to the store every Wednesday and picks up her comics, and whatever issue Beneath the Trees came out, she was like, "Oh my god, something huge happens! Something huge happens! I need to tell you." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, you do not, because that trade paperback is not coming out until next year." So,
how do you avoid spoilers? Actually, since you're online all the time and like you have people commenting about the stuff that they love.
No, they know damn better than to comment.
Like, did they tell you Samantha died in the sequel yet? No, I'm kidding.
No, they're actually the community is really cool. Like they know. I mean, this is collected editions, and you go to a collected editions community, and we're all on the same page. There's a few people actually that get single issues here, but they never spoil anything. They're really cool. They'll say things like, "Oh man, wait until you get to issue 4 of this," or wait until you read this next year," which usually happens. And by the time I usually read it, I completely forget that people hyped it up, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, have you read Beneath the Trees Volume 2, issue 4? Was it issue 4 or whatever issue it's on?"
Yeah.
And my wife was like, "Yeah, that's what I was telling you last year. Remember?" Like, it was really cool.
Also, I will add, since we're talking about Beneath the Trees, yeah, it's still so real that Ryan and I get to do this. I was never working in a kitchen, but like I was a waiter once upon a time. I did the graveyard shift in the news industry. I was freelance press for years and years and years for a bunch of different outlets. So to be able to do this is wild. But he and I at New York Comic Con got to attend the Harvey Awards and sit at the IDW table with Patrick.
That's
so to
awesome.
be there when he won Book of the Year for Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, that's like a core memory. Yeah.
And that guy's a riot to talk to. Such a kind, funny, quirky dude, man. I really like Patrick. He's awesome. So I was happy to see that. And storing single issues is so hard, but I can't let them go.
You can see over there, right? Like those short boxes.
That looks familiar.
Yeah, that's not even like you should see my garage. It's crazy. I moved recently, and like the house we moved from, I didn't have a garage, so I had to buy a storage, like a shed, to house all my short boxes, and then moving them was a nightmare. So you think storing them is? Moving single issue comic books is not hard. And I'm a double dipper, so I have the collection. This isn't even all my collection. There's some over here, you know what I mean? Some down here. Like but I can't. I'm a Wednesday warrior. I never miss a week of new comic books unless I'm on vacation with family. And even then, I'm like, is there a comic book store anywhere near here? Because I'm getting the itch. I need to go in. So
Well, without you all, I mean, there wouldn't be any of this stuff though. Like, collected editions.
That's true.
Without the single issue collectors or the people that read single issues, there would be no collected editions of these things.
Well, we could go into a Twilight Zone where the whole industry just decides overnight, like everything's an OGN.
I remember that rumor from, oh my gosh, I don't know. It always pops up like every year, like no more single issues. Marvel and DC are calling it quits. Everything's going straight to trade paperback.
Well, do you prefer, when it comes to shows you watch, do you prefer binging a whole season if it releases all at once, or do you prefer the weekly model?
No, I like the weekly model.
Interesting.
It's just that I don't know. When the last single issue, don't get me wrong, I will get single issues from time to time if I'm curious about a series, or if I don't need anybody spoiling things for me. Like I couldn't wait to read Absolute. What was it? The Absolute Martian Manhunter, because everybody kept hyping it up. I'm like, I'm going to read the first issue. I'm going to go get the first issue.
Nice.
And that creative team.
What do you think about the end reveal where you had to like shine a light?
Oh, that was, dude, the whole thing was awesome. So the hardcover just came in, and I'm curious.
Oh, it's a hardcover also today? Tuesdays,
Wednesday, bro. Yeah, wherever your local comic book stores are. The hardcover and softcover come out on the same day. So it'll have the first 6 issues, I think. So I'm wondering how the rest of the series will be. But I think it was 2002 when I came back to comics, and then by 2003 I had stopped getting single issues. and I went straight to collected editions just because the companies were doing such a great job of printing things after 6 issues. Like you had the whole Bill Jemas era of Marvel where everything was written or apparently written for collected edition. So they wanted 5 to 6 story or 6 issue story arcs. And back in the day, you know, when I was getting comics in the 80s and 90s, there were no collected editions. There was always the graphic novels, and then there, of course, was Watchmen and Batman Year One, Dark Phoenix Saga, and that was about it. There wasn't anything like, if you were reading current comics, that was the only way to read them. And of course, we didn't have digital, so it took a lot for me to break out of that and go strictly with this. But it's been a crazy, amazing ride. What have you guys been reading outside of IDW? What's the hottest book for you all this year?
Do you want me to go first?
Up to you.
You guys are so nice.
I can go. I don't care.
Yeah,
Scott Dumbier. What's up, Scott?
Get in here.
Scott Dumbier. Amazing, dude. His artist editions, the absolute editions that came from his mind, like, my God, dude. I mean, look, I literally have him stacked on my shelves over there. So obviously, I mean, this is not just me saying it because it is one of the best-selling books of the year, but Absolute Batman has just been absolutely killing it every single issue. I never thought I would see Nick Dragotta on a mainstream book at DC or Marvel as the ongoing artist, because I love East of West.
East of West is
That's
awesome.
one of
it doesn't fit that superhero look.
It doesn't,
right.
But that's why it works. To me, that's why that book works like it does, because Scott Snyder, I didn't think he had more to say with Batman, but apparently he did, and it was in a different way. And like, because of the way he's delivering it, and like Nick Dragotta is just like, each issue that he draws that I read, I'm like, how's he going to depict this character? And like, he just goes so hard. And so that to me is like my favorite book of the year besides anything that we're publishing. I really love Absolute Wonder Woman. I think the whole Absolute line is pretty strong.
Yeah.
And I've always been a diehard DC guy. So like, DC's just, to me, killing it, you know, this year especially. And so I'm trying to think of anything else outside of DC. I mean, I love Image. I'm an old school like Image fan, so like I'm still reading Savage Dragon. Like that's like one of my favorite books, even though it comes out very sporadically. So and I know it's not like a huge like seller, but it's like seriously one of my favorite books. The Energon universe has been really fun. I think like Daniel Warren Johnson's 1 through 24 is like, that's some really good comics. I'm trying to think of anything else. I mean, I read so much.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I read a lot.
It never like ceases to amaze me when I talk to, and you know, doing this and talking to PR, and even before I had this channel. So I've had this channel for 9 years now, and before this, I used to review manga for magazines, and talking to PR just from all over the place. It surprises me when people are not into whatever they're working on. It's like, to me, it's like if I were I don't know, car dealer, like working at the car dealership and not knowing anything about cars, like that's the way it would feel. But there are people that, you know, just have a job and they're like, yeah, I work in comics. I don't know. I don't read any of this nonsense. I just sell it, or it's my job to market it. So it makes me happy to see people that do and care and are fans. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for my wife too, because when she's like, "You're reading again," I'm like, "Dude, this is research. This is like," she's like, "But you guys don't do Batman." I'm like, "Yeah, but I need to know what they're doing over there. I need to know what the competition's up to." So you know what I mean? Like that to me is like one of the biggest benefits of working in comics is like, now she can't get mad at me. Like I'm spending time reading comics. I will shout out the Ultimate Universe too with the Marvel, especially Ultimate X-Men by Peach Momoko. Like Peach is like one of my favorite artists. I love that they went somewhere so different with that. Ultimate Spider-Man, I love because I love married Peter. I'm still like, Peter Mary Jane is like where it should be. I never thought they should have been separated, but that's another conversation. But I love what Ultimate X-Men has done. I thought it's been great. Dennis Camp too on Ultimates. I think he's like definitely such a great writer. We were talking about like, you know, Martian Manhunter. You know, like he did killer job on Absolute Martian Manhunter. So I could keep going. I don't want to take up all the time. Greg, you can. I could literally just read you off my pull list.
Greg usually shares his what he's enjoying on social media, but I want to hear it from him. What's your favorite book of the year, Greg, so far?
Oh, man. If we're talking book of the year, there are quite a few things that come to mind, but believe it or not, it's going to be something that was only 3 issues. Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell.
Oh, the Charles.
Oh, that's a good one. That was a good one.
Thank you. Yeah, with Steve McNiven. Just because like it could be reduced to like, have a good night, Scott. Nice seeing you. It could be reduced to like, oh, it's just a love letter to Dark Knight Returns, which is fair, right? Because it very much feels like that. But like, it feels like a real celebration of the visual medium because, first of all, every single issue, like, it's incredible that Marvel did this. Every single issue had process material in the back. It showed you what Charles's script looked like. It showed you then how Steve took it and did different layouts, his approach to it. And it was very much, with no disrespect to Charles Soule and his efforts, it was very much an art-driven book because he did a very bare bones kind of script, and that was intentional. Whereas like, here's what I want on every page in dialogue. How do you see that? Like, how do you want to lay that out? How do you want to direct the camera, so to speak? So it was just super cool. And also the fact that Steve McNiven just like completely modified his style to make it feel totally different and like a reference to The Dark Knight Returns. It was just an incredible piece of work. That sounds like an insult, but it's not. And it's awesome that Marvel's also giving it a hardcover edition, which I believe is on sale next year. I think February. So I'm definitely double dipping with that.
It's very, very rare because Marvel doesn't really do standard hardcovers anymore.
This very much felt like it was like a prestige approach, and it paid off. I thought it was incredible. Actually, I know Comic Pop was in here. They did back issues about Cold Day in Hell as well, so people could check that out if they want to, see what it's all about, and then definitely get the hardcover. Ryan, were you going to say something?
Oh no, somebody in the comments said Batman Dark Patterns. Yes, that was an amazing book. Dan Waters and Hayden Sherman.
Hayden's such a great artist, and dude, and unbelievably fast. Like, I don't know how
he was doing 2 books at the same
time. They did that the Dark Horse book too. What was it called? It was a horror book. At the same time,
Dungeon. Hayden did Dungeon with Scott Snyder last year, which was an incredible, like, stone cold thriller kind of book. I strongly recommend it if someone likes Beneath Trees Where Nobody Sees. Definitely also check out Dungeon. Yes, it's from IDW, and I work from IDW. Whatever. It's like it's a really, really good comic. Like, it's Scott Snyder doing really dark horror.
It was called Unbeing. So Volume 2 just came out of Unbeing while they were working on Absolute Wonder Woman.
Is that like with Zach Thompson? Yeah. I remember that as well. Thompson. Yeah. But also, like, outside of Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell, I mean, the other books that come to mind, I'm really, really enjoying Escape by Rick Remender and Daniel Acuna, I believe. I'm really, really enjoying that book as well. Battle Beast is just an absolute blast every single issue. It's really nice to get back into that universe and just see like Robert Kirkman and Ryan Ottley just like going all out and just delivering popcorn entertainment and emotion with every issue. Like Ryan said, Absolute Batman, the Absolute line is just a juggernaut in the industry. Those are some very, very well made and entertaining books. Obviously Absolute Batman is at the top for me from that line, but like also I've just Absolute Martian Manhunter is great, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman I feel like took a very different approach, and that may have been a little divisive to some people, and understandably so. It's different, but I feel like right now it's like really getting into a good groove with like this battle in Smallville and everything, and I feel like Jason's really hitting his stride there. I'm excited to see where that goes. Ben Percy is just playing with all the Predators in the sandbox. It is super fun. I mean, like, I'm a Kraven fanboy, so the fact that Kraven is working with the Predators now to just attack the Marvel Universe, like issue I think 4 of Predator Kills the Marvel Universe is on sale tomorrow. I can't wait to see what happens in that. Geiger over at Ghost Machine, Rook at Ghost Machine, and yeah, there's just so much across the board. Whether it's DC, Marvel, Image, like there's a lot of really good stuff going on right now. I'm spending way more than I should every week. I should be donating to my son's future, but instead I'm foolishly just absorbing as many comics as I can every week.
You may be one of those issues could be worth a lot of money. You know, you never
That's
know.
Maybe.
Single issues, he could put it in that CGC thing and then pay for college that way. Just saying. I don't know if you thought about that as an investment, Greg.
I still have so many first appearances that I don't know, man. Maybe it's just like laziness on my part that I just can't get around to selling. Like first appearance of Craven and like Deadpool and Gambit and stuff like Moon Knight, Bullseye. But yeah, I'll stop babbling about that.
I had to get rid of mine years ago. I just noticed your arcade. Is that Ninja Turtles?
Yes.
Or...
yeah, it's from Arcade One Up. It was a very, very generous gift from my wife a few years ago, because she knew growing up, like I always had this silly dream of having either the Ninja Turtles arcade or the X-Men arcade. I never thought it would happen, but then Arcade One Up was like, hey, what if all those people who grew up with this stuff suddenly had a more affordable way? And affordable is very subjective because that thing is obviously not cheap. But yeah, it was a very, very generous gift. And like the coolest thing now is my son's 5. There are some weekends where I'll just like hear the arcade go on and he just like is sitting there playing it and he'll be like, Dad, be Raphael or Donatello or whatever. So it's nice.
Dude, I love those games. The beat 'em up games like that and the Simpsons, like those were quarter eaters when I was growing up, and now my kids are playing them. And what they just did a Ninja Turtles game, I think last year, which was solid. It was a side scroller.
Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah, man, that was
my game of the year.
Yeah, and then they're doing the Marvel Cosmic Smash. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's the same people that did Shredder's.
Dude, I'm so in, man. That looks killer. Even though I didn't see Wolverine, but I'm like, surely they're gonna add Wolverine. There's no way. They're doing the Toxic Avengers, I think, and something else. Yeah, but I'm a big fan of those beat 'em up games, so I had to ask which one you had. What was do you all remember your first comic book? Ryan,
Flash 82 Flash 82 by Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo.
Wow,
that was my first.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's why Wally West has been my favorite like character since then, obviously, because that was my first comic book. I still have it too, and I got Mark Waid to sign it, and that thing is beat up, dude. That thing is like I drew in it. You know,
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like the mail order stuff is like filled in with crayon. And like I look at it and I'm like, what was I thinking? Why did I do that? But I also, anytime I see that comic, I buy another copy. So I have like multiple copies of that book.
Yeah, you always remember your first. Like it's very special. And I'm glad you kept it too. I'm glad you kept it. What about you, Greg? What was the first comic?
I think so. I have kind of a fuzzy memory on this. I think it was technically Gambit #1. I was born in 1985, so I grew up at the perfect time to like fall in love with X-Men, the animated series, TV animated series, all that stuff. And I think I was in like whatever like the equivalent of like a Dwayne Reed or a CVS was back then, back when they were in like the magazine section. There were single issue comics. So I'm pretty sure it was Gambit #1. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't until funny story. I'll take a minute to share it. I was into all these characters in the video games and like the shows and stuff, but I wasn't super into the comics. And I would go to actually comic book stores for Star Wars cards when I was younger, because me and my friends played Star Wars cards, or we would collect them and trade them.
Oh, the trading card game, right?
Yeah.
Or the like Magic the Gathering, like that kind of game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a shop doing a drawing contest, which is obviously like a lottery. You know, you get a ticket, you see if you eventually win something. And I didn't understand that because I was too young. I thought it was a literal drawing contest, like an art contest. So I did a piece of art. I think I made Thor. I copied like from one of the things that I liked. I brought it in, and they felt so bad for me. They gave me a short box full of comics, and it was primarily Marvel Comics Presents. And I don't remember the exact issue number, but this is why I have soft spot for the Wolverine villain Cyber. It was Peter David was the writer. There was just like an action sequence between Cyber and Wolverine that just like really pulled me in and allowed me to find. Yeah. And it allowed me to finally like really click with like what makes comics so special. Because prior to that, it was all movies, video games, TV shows, stuff like that. So that was the one that really hooked me and kind of like created that interest. Yeah. And then later on, I would go and dedicate way too much time and money to collecting comics.
So you have that shop to thank. That's awesome. I love giving comics away. I did it for quite a number of years. I did single issues for like Halloween during Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun because it was just books that I would put in a quarter bin anyway. But like I remember some kids were like, "We came here for candy." Like I don't want to read it.
You have to put comics and single issues because otherwise, like then they're disappointed to see it's just comics. But if you do both, then the interest is there. Like, so I do that every year as well. Like we're lucky enough, obviously, to receive extra copies of IDW single issues. So like the appropriate ones for all ages, like your Sonic, your Monster High, TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures, I'll create like a bucket with just like a ton of those. And even some of like my trade paperbacks and whatnot, because I just have too many. And like Ryan and you said, like there's even just like it's spilling out into the rooms and stuff. I have like a Ring camera or whatever. I'll never share it publicly, obviously, but like at the end of the night, after going trick-or-treating with my son and my wife and like his group of friends, I go back and I just immediately watch like how did everyone react to this? And like there are just some where like it's this really awesome moment to watch where like this group of girls just like freak out over seeing Sonic and Monster High comics, and they like yell at the camera like thank you and everything. Hey, nice.
I want that pile of Grendel up. I want that Grendel.
Yeah. I got a familiar story to share. Go ahead.
But no, it's really nice to see that. And then like you see parents trying to encourage younger kids, like, oh, what about Ninja Turtles or what about Sonic? And it's just nice to know that they may then go home and after like just filling themselves up on candy, they may flip through a comic and it may create that interest and that passion. And whether that continues with IDW or any other comic, doesn't matter. As long as they fall in love with comics, that's all that matters.
And my wife is a big fan of having, so she's a teacher and she has single issues in her classroom and trade paperbacks in her classroom. Nice. And as long as kids are reading, that's what's important to her. Yeah. What Ob said, of course, because of everything going on with that store, but it reminded me of there was a time when manga was available here in America in single issue format. And that format is long gone, and we're gone to the Tankobon since the invasion of Tokyo Pop. But I had like 6 long boxes of like this manga, and my friend's daughter, who was 15 at the time, was getting huge into manga. This was about, I want to say like 15 years ago or so. And I was like, dude, I've got 6 long boxes. If she cool with like reading single issues, and he was like, yes, I'll go pick them up. So he picked them up, and then about 2 weeks later, he texts me and he's like, hey, we need to talk. And I'm like, what's up? And he was like, you know that all the manga you gave me to give my kiddo? And I'm like, yeah, you're welcome. And he was like, well, did you check what was in there? And I'm like, oh, damn. I was like, oh no, I hope she didn't run into that stash. I thought I gave that away already. Like, it's always so embarrassing, but at least it wasn't like Halloween and kids picking up.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a fun.
Yeah, but that's what, like, I was really careful when you were like age appropriate. I'm like, yeah, I know all that too well. So when it came to like trick or treating, like I had to make sure it was things that kids could read. Is there a creator that both of you, like, no matter what they're working on, you're going to go and check out? I know Greg says he gets everything, so I don't know if that's a really fair question for him. But is there a creator that you're like, oh man, so-and-so is working on this book, I got to go and get that day one?
It's a really good question. If you want to take
it for me, it's Ed Brubaker. I'll buy anything. I was going to say, like, I forgot to say that, like, the knives that came out this book or this year, that was like probably my favorite like book. Jason Aaron is another one. Like Bug Wars was a favorite of mine. Obviously, when he became a Turtles writer, I was like, my jaw fell to the ground because like he's long been like Scalped is one of my all-time favorite comic books. Like I've read that series multiple times. So
Ed Brubaker and Jason Aaron. Those are good. What about you, Greg?
And it's tough to say because even if there's like a writer or artist that I really, really love, it also comes down to like, what is the book? What's the hook? You know, is it a genre that I'm interested in? I usually try my best to pick up like every debut issue from writers or artists that I like a lot. This is a very like safe answer where I'm not naming names. I feel like I'm like not giving a good answer here.
That's okay.
Honestly, man, like I agree with Jason 100%, but also I think keeping an eye on what Patrick does outside of Beneath the Trees as well. Like if he ever pops up at another publisher doing something else, or like he does the occasional like short story or one shot with like DC, I always make sure to check that out just because I think like I just think he has a really bright future in this industry. I think he's really talented and innovative, and I just love seeing what he's going to cook up outside of Woodbrook.
The first interview I had with him a couple of years back, that Greg was a big part of, I freaked out when I found out he was attached to a couple of horror movies that my brother and I really like. And I was like, "What you did?" And he was like, "Yeah, I did that." And then he did the storyboard for Weapons.
Yeah,
or he did the first part and the
yeah,
third.
he was
part.
one of the storyboard artists, but still,
That
that's
was
just like
really
really
cool.
cool. Yeah,
So I'm like, so you know how it starts and how it ends, but you don't know what happens in the middle. And if you've seen the movie, how it starts, how it ends may not be the best thing to know about the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one. About like for me, I think it goes back to my childhood. It's like it's hard not to get excited about like Jim Lee or Mark Silvestri working on something, or Chris Claremont. No matter how many times I go back to these classic stories, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're going back and doing another patch story.
Is there a character that would make you check it out no matter what? Like no matter how confident or skeptical you are about what the story may be? A character that you will always purchase no matter what?
Transformers, like legit. Every incarnation of Transformers. And I still think, no offense to Daniel Warren Johnson or Skybound, I love what they do, but IDW Phase 2 is the greatest incarnation of Transformers. Like legit. Like it got no better than that. And I'm a fan, from the original show and the Marvel comics, but to me, what IDW did with especially Phase 2, nothing had been done. And I mentioned this I saw Alex Milne and Andrew Griffith at a convention just recently. My daughter and I went to TFCon. We were drinking afterwards. Not my daughter, but Andrew and Alex. I have been going to Transformers conventions since the 90s. And it wasn't until IDW Phase 2 that I noticed women were coming to conventions. And all the cosplayers to this day, they don't come as like G1 characters. Most of them are the IDW version of these characters. And it is amazing what they've done for the comics, like, and never to be forgotten. It broke my heart just when that era ended. And, and my wife loves Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers, and my daughter and I were both like, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
but IDW's version, that's where it was. Yeah. So Transformers, no matter what, no matter where it's at, I will go and check it out. It's probably one of my favorite franchises. What about you guys? Is there a character or franchise that you're like, oh man, I got to check that. I got to get that.
It's got to be Flash for you, right, Ryan?
Wally? It's a toss up between three: Flash, okay. Green Arrow, and Daredevil. Those three, like, I will always pick up. You're laughing. I will always pick up.
No, those are good answers. Mine is so bad. That's why I'm laughing.
Well, now you got to share, Greg. What do you mean yours are so bad? What do you got?
I'm like a sucker for lesser known characters because their character designs were cool and it connected with me at a younger age, and that kind of imprinted this fascination and interest. So like, and I also think that makes me keep an eye out even more for when they do appear, because there aren't that many appearances. And like, Oh man, I can't go an hour without mentioning any of these characters in my life. Apparently, Cardiac is one of them. A Marvel. These are all
Oh
Marvel
shit, Cardiac
characters.
from Spider-Man. Cardiac.
Yeah,
He had a cool design though.
he's
Okay.
he's a villain slash anti-hero. Finally getting his own action figure, which is incredible to see. Um, yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with that character. I would love to see a limited series from him one day, though I suspect sales for that would be very, very low, unless it's like, I don't know, Jonathan Hickman's Cardiac or something. With the Sod Riddick on art.
Eric Larson could go back to the character they just announced a Cardiac guy. I'm
Yeah.
sure Greg got the text message as soon as that was announced.
I got 2 people texted me. It was during New York Comic Con, and I was so happy to see that. Yeah, it was incredible. And the other one is Cyber, because that was the first comic that really, really like resonated with me when he fought Wolverine, and that character has such a wild history too. He's died like 3 times.
Yep.
Actually, I was lucky enough to. I worked at Midtown Comics for a couple of years. I did their marketing and events, so I was really lucky to get to work with a lot of different creators, and one of them was Peter David, and he co-created Cyber, and I asked him casually, I was like, "Hey man, by the way, thank you for like making Cyber," and he was like, "No one's ever said that before," and I was like, "Yeah, do you know the character's died like 2 or 3 times?" He's like, "What?" And it was just a really fun conversation to have with that guy. And, yeah, sorely missed, obviously. And then, man, I'm a Craven the Hunter fanboy, obviously. Whether he's a clone, it's one of his sons, his daughter, and then, yeah, agreed, Logan, agreed. Maybe one day, hopefully. And then, what was the other one? At DC, I want to see a return to form for like a really intimidating Constantine Draken. That dude was like really scary when like Phil Hester was doing the art. Judd Winnick was writing, if I remember correctly. He was like a really formidable and scary dude, and he's kind of like been in the background now, or just like a jobber. I remember I bugged Ben Percy once. I was like, "Can you use him in your Green Arrow run in Rebirth?" And I think at the very end of the run, he just included him as like a bank robber, and he got knocked out. I was like, "Oh," but he included him. So hey, those are the characters that whenever they appear, I gotta check it out just to see how people are handling those characters.
Well, okay. Well, I would have to go with the New Warriors if we're gonna go with what's real. And no matter how many times they try and completely slaughter my boys, I still have to check out what they're doing. But yeah, that's the stuff I grew up with. I know we got a hard stop at 8:15, but I just wanted to thank both of you for joining me today, and let's do this again, guys. This was a lot of fun getting to know what you guys are reading in the industry. But before I do, I have to ask a hard-hitting question. What's next for IDW? Next big project you guys can share, or collected editions, preferably, of course.
Oh man, I do know that for the holidays we have a Last Ronin box set actually coming out, so that's going to be a really good holiday gift.
Excited.
If you somehow missed out on the TMNT relaunch by Jason Aaron and just the incredible lineup of artists, there are multiple different versions that you could get. There's a trade paperback, of Volume 1, Return to New York, which is awesome. There is a library edition, which is a hardcover that's a little oversized, but then there's also an inked edition, which is the biggest version. That's a hardcover as well, and that is very literally just the inks plus additional process art and everything. So that's a really cool way to appreciate that story. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, as always, is just an awesome thing to add to your collection. I mean, I'm not the book publicist, but we have a lot of, and there's also a Black Friday sale, by the way, going on. So I would strongly recommend checking that out. Yes, they are.
They got a lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah,
TMNT Naruto just came out recently too. That's another one. We got some cool folio editions on the website. And somebody called it out earlier, but we're collecting the TMNT 1 through 150 in 50 issue chunks. So you guys I do want to call it out.
Okay, what do you guys
happening?
Okay, talk. I know we got to go. What are you all calling that? Because your compendiums is what you use. Yeah, I'm going there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're right. They should be called compendiums. I'll say
All
it.
right.
They should be called compendiums, but we are calling them an omnibus. But you're right.
I love it.
It's just a compendium. This is a conversation. I'm laughing as Greg and I have had this conversation basically since we started in the company.
You guys have
about
no idea how many times I get the question, because you're not the only one though. Dark Horse also has omnibus editions that are softcover, and I think that's actually where it started. But when you guys did the compendium of Lock and Key, is when people were like so confused. So when I did my video, they were like, "Whoa, it's oversized and in hardcover format? That's crazy!" And I was like, "Yeah." That's
so
gonna
I will say, regardless of like the designation or title, it's just we're both really happy that it's happening, because it's going to be like an affordable way for everyone just to quickly catch up and appreciate the 150 issue series that, you know, Tom Waltz, Kevin Eastman, Sophie Campbell, and just so many incredible artists, Mateus Santalogo, Dan Duncan, Andy Goodham. The list can go on and on. Just like, it's an incredible saga, and it all paved the way for like Jason Aaron to then take the ball with the relaunch and make sure it's respecting that continuity but providing a fresh jumping on point. And now with Gene and Freddie doing the same. So yeah, there's so many good collections. And again, IDWpublishing.com, they have a Black Friday sale with a lot of collections that are on sale, and they're really, really good discounts over there. So hopefully people check them out.
Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And yeah, anytime you guys want to come back and just talk about comics, I'm always here. You just let me know. This was a blast, especially getting to know both of you. And any last words? Where you guys both on social media where people can follow you for your awesome takes on comics?
I'll go.
I mean, I don't really share as much. I try to stay off social media a little bit. I mean, I'm on there. I don't really post about comics as much. I kind of just keep that, you know, to myself and to like when I'm talking with Greg or friends. But I mean, I have a YouTube channel that I used to share all my thoughts. So you could always check out Comic Con. There's a back catalog of videos there. But yeah, just I would just say follow IDW Publishing on social media, because that's where you can find all the cool stuff that we got coming up, stuff that I'm trying really hard not to like open my mouth and say right now, because I don't want to like.
Thank you.
Loyal stuff. That's what I'm going to do to Greg, because like it's on the tip of my tongue. Like I want to so bad. But yeah, thank you. I just want to say thank you again for having me, dude. It's been a blast. And I'm down to come back anytime.
Awesome. Yeah, man. This was great getting to talk to you all. You've done this kind of stuff before, man. You had your own channel, so you already know. You're a pro. Yeah. Greg, you're a good dude.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, man, for having us. Man. Thank you. Really means a lot to us. Please follow IDW on social media. And I would say more importantly, instead of plugging any social media I have, find a comic shop near you. Go check it out. Go look around. Ask them, how do I set up a pull list here? See if you like that place. See if you want to set up a pull list there. Because I know obviously a lot of people who watch your channel stick to collected editions, and that is awesome and that is great. But if there is a book that you're really excited about and you want to get into the direct market and the single issues so you don't get anything spoiled for you, check out your local comic shop. Give them a shot. They should also have a bunch of collected editions you could check out.
Yeah, like this Ice Cream Man new issue. That's a bunch of like trading cards. Yeah. Like, how do you collect that? That's
very
crazy.
inventive. Yeah.
All right, everybody. We are out of here. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening.